Hello, everybody out there in BookTube land. My name is Peg, and welcome to the History Shelf. Today's the day you've been waiting for. I'm about 10 days late doing this video, but the wait was well worth it. We are doing new history and nonfiction releases for June. These are all books that are releasing or publishing this month. Variety of different historical topics. So waiting for my camera to do its autofocus thing. Just in case you're wondering, again, my name is Peg, and this is the History Shelf. Let's see. It's been a while since my last video. I feel like it's been a while. It's just that, gosh, the summer is just, and it's not even technically summer, right? But it has been popping. It has been busy. What else is new? But let's go ahead and start reviewing the books that have come into the History Shelf that are slated for publication in June. So get your pen and paper handy, or get your little notepad up. Get ready to type your TBR down, because I know a lot of you guys do that. You guys make a list of the books that you want to get from these videos. And that's what I'm here to do, is to help you find books that that you get excited about, that you get fired up about, and that you're going to read. And I've got, I'm going to have a giveaway. I'm going to have a giveaway in a couple of these books. I have advanced reader copies. So if you don't mind an advanced reader copy, I'll put you in for a drawing, and we can see what happens. I mentioned before on the channel that I'm doing more giveaways. So to do that, you just need to find my email address, which is on my About tab. On my channel page, go to the About tab, and you'll see my business email address. Simply email me with the title of the book that you're interested in putting your name in for the giveaway. And hey, if you wouldn't mind, especially if you're a winner, if you can help me offset some of the shipping costs a bit, I have a link in my description box which says buy me a coffee. I don't drink coffee, but I'm not able to change that word to say help me cover postage for these giveaways. But if you're willing to do that, if you're a winner and you're willing to pitch in, like, whatever it is, $5, whatever it is, that would be greatly helpful. And that should be in my description box. So thanks again, guys. All right, so we're going to move into our June list of books. Oh, wait, and one of them is one of these is a finished copy. I've talked about this book before. I think it actually came out in May, but I want to show you. I got the finished copy, and I was so excited to finally get it. This is put out by Knopf Publishers. This is Those Who Are About to Die: A Day in the Life of a Roman Gladiator by Harry Sidebottom. Love that name. Yeah, I reviewed this for Washington Independent Review of Books, and I'll be posting, or did I already? I can't remember if I posted on social media about it. I think I did. But anyway, you can read my review at Washington Independent. Anyway, I really love this book, and in fact, I have the galley I'm sending to a friend of mine who said he's very interested in this. So I hope to get that out. I'm trying to package all of my, no pun intended, all of my postage or my postal packages together for one trip to the post office. So I think I'm going to try to get all the giveaways, the galleys, the things I've promised to others in one trip to the post office, because now I have my own label maker here. So I can just pay for it online, print my label, package it up, and all I have to do is go to the post office and drop them off and get them scanned in. So it's giveaway central now here at the History Shelf, because I'm getting tons of duplicates. And you know what? Publishers love a giveaway too. It gets news of the book out. It generates excitement. Anyway, this was a fantastic read. Goes into extreme detail around a very interesting convention. It builds the day in the life around the hours in the Roman uh, the Roman day. Each hour is named something else, like Vesper, uh, Con- Canticinium, Quarta Vigila, Tertia Vigilia, Prima Vigilia, Tempus Post Meridian. It's all Latin, baby. Tempus Post Meridianum. Oh my gosh. Anyway, but this finished copy has all the stuff that I missed in the galley, which was the artwork, the photos of, you know, the carvings, the friezes, mosaics. So this is something I'm definitely going to reread again, because it really blew away some assumptions that people had about gladiators. The biggest of which is they were fat. And if you think about it, it makes sense, because they could last longer in the ring, the Colosseum, because they have more subcutaneous layers of fat. So when they took a cut, first of all, it would bleed profusely, which added to the drama for the audience, but they wouldn't be life-threatening. They would just bleed a lot. You know what I mean? They weren't hitting the organs because there was so much there. So interesting. You learn a lot about gladiators. So I have talked about this book before, so I won't read the description. We've got a lot of books to move through, and I'm trying to not make it an hour-long video. So I just wanted to show you, I did get the finished copy, and it's a fantastic read if you're into ancient Roman history, stuff like that. Okay. Let's see. Let me, a lot of these are finished copies, so let me show you ones that I only have in advanced reader copies for right now. All right. This book is already out. It came out June 2nd from Doubleday Books. This is Stolen Revolution. Betrayal and Hope in Modern Iran by Yagana Torbati and Bozorgmer Sharafuddin. I'm sorry. Sorry for my poor pronunciation. Stolen Revolution, Betrayal and Hope in Modern Iran. Let's see here. This a little over 400 pages long. I'll read the back to you here. In 1979, a revolution in Iran swept aside a monarchy fueled by the Iranian people's dreams of social justice and political freedom. But in the years that followed, the movement's leader, Ayatollah Khomeini, and his acolytes instead built a system that served their narrow faction and worsened beyond imagination the brutality and corruption that had existed under the previous government. In Stolen Revolution, award-winning journalists Yagana Torbati and Bozor Mer Sharafuddin tell the entwined stories of 6 Iranians who together have lived the arc of modern Iranian history in all its bitter twists and enduring hopes. We meet Mehdi Karoubi, a devotee of Khomeini who rose to the heights of power before being cast out of the inner circle. Hila Sadeghi, a young activist, gave voice through her poetry to her peers' hopes and shattered dreams. Amir Moghadam, an ambitious government bureaucrat, witnessed corruption and graft on a scale that impelled him to take enormous risks to expose the truth. Saeed Rahmani returned to Iran to spark a startup boom in his native country and encountered a ruthless security state. And Rojin Yousefzada and Kosar Eftekhari, both born in the 1990s, joined a mass movement that confronted a ferocious state apparatus, the Woman Life Freedom protests. Each paid an enormous price. In this vivid and unforgettable narrative, Stolen Revolution centers ordinary Iranians and their destiny and provides a gutting understanding of life in a modern authoritarian state. So this sounds very interesting. Like I said, got the arc. I haven't had a chance to dip into this yet. I haven't been reading. This used to be a really big focus of my reading. Probably 10 years, maybe more than 10 years ago. I read a lot of Middle Eastern and Persian history, Arabian history, Middle Eastern history, just trying to understand the different sects, the movements, the politics, tribalism. It's all very fascinating. Once I get back into that mode again, this is going to be one of the first books I pick up, because I have read a lot of books about Iran, but not recently. So I do need a refresher on what's going on now. So, like I said, this came out June 2nd from Doubleday. So check that out if it's of interest. Okay, yes, let's get these going here. Next book. This book is coming out. Well, this book also came out June 2nd. This is from Portfolio Penguin. This is called The Man Who Stole the Gods. A true story of war, obsession, and a global art conspiracy. There you go. This is by Matthew Campbell. Like I said, this is the ARC. This one sounds really good, like some narrative history that kind of describes you and kind of reads like a novel. Let's see here. From the killing fields of Cambodia to the gilded halls of New York's Metropolitan Museum of Art, a tale of stolen treasures and the battle to reclaim a nation's soul. Amidst the chaos of Cambodia's brutal genocide, a new crime wave emerged, one that would sweep across borders and entangle the world's most prestigious art institutions. Priceless treasures of the ancient Khmer Empire, the civilization that produced Angkor Wat, vanished from sacred temples, looted by smugglers and trafficked into the hands of elite collectors. At the center of it all was a man named Douglas Latchford, known later as Dynamite Doug. For the ruthless methods used to extract statues from temple ruins, Latchford orchestrated one of history's most audacious cultural heists. From dusty Cambodian villages to the glittering auction houses of London and New York and institutions like the Met, he played a double game, posing as an expert on Khmer art while secretly flooding the market with stolen antiquities. In The Man Who Stole the Gods, award-winning journalist Matthew Campbell unravels the gripping story of Latchford's criminal enterprise and a global conspiracy of greed and collusion, one that involves some of the world's most powerful museums and collectors. So, that has been a problem in the past. Just the provenance of antiquities and who owns them and who should have them. Should they, they need to go back to the land of where they came from, this kind of thing. And then you just have the black market, which has been going on from time immemorial, since there was such a thing as antiquities dealing and stuff like that. So The Man Who Stole the Gods, that sounds really good, doesn't it? By Matthew Campbell. Out right now. I'm waiting for this thing to focus again. From Portfolio Penguin. So, all right, the next galley that I have. This says it's just coming out in June. It doesn't give me the date. So, if you're interested in this, you might just have to type it in and see if it is available right now. This is called Unreasonable Women. 3 Stories of Violence, Imprisonment, and Extraordinary Survival by Justine van der Loon. Unreasonable Women. This is put out by Echo Books. And Echo Books. So I don't have the pub sheet, so I'll just read from the back again. Let's see here. When award-winning journalist Justine van der Loon began looking into the issue of criminalized survival, she was astonished to see how women were being imprisoned for protecting themselves against abuse. This sparked an intensive, years-long investigation to determine how often survivors are targeted for prosecution, during which she collected more than 1,000 personal accounts from women's prisons across America. In Unreasonable Women, van der Loon tells the propulsive, shocking, and intimate stories of 3 extraordinary women who, finding themselves caught in the direst circumstances, had to kill to survive. Tanisha is a spirited Michigan mother determined to help authorities solve a cold case, whatever the consequences. Gemma is a soft-hearted Missouri factory worker struggling to keep her family together while navigating a dangerous relationship. TC is a bold Californian trying to escape generations of trauma in a toxic family environment. In each case, a woman's childhood abuse A woman's childhood abuse was replicated in adulthood until they were ultimately forced to make an impossible choice. Oh, this is going to be gut-wrenching reading. Oh, wow. A work of literary reportage that reads like the most dynamic crime novel. And that's what I was going to say. Just the setup with these three characters. It sounds like you're about to read a really, gripping crime novel. Unreasonable Women is the result of 7 years of unprecedented research and on-the-ground reporting in U.S. prisons. It is the story of women and violence in America, and a wake-up call about a system that would rather condemn a woman to life behind bars than face its own failings. Ain't that the truth? It is also the moving narrative of 3 women who find hope and humanity in the unlikeliest of places. Wow. This comes on the heels of me recently finishing a novel with a very similar, it's like almost word for word. Of course, it was a novel, and I reviewed it for Novels Alive, and I haven't posted that yet on my social media, but I will. The novel was called Sounds Like Trouble to Me, and it's about a woman who has been suffering domestic abuse at the hands of her husband for years, and one fateful day or evening, she ends up shooting him, and she's a corrections officer. So she goes from being the officer at a prison to now being a prisoner on the inside. And it's up to the lawyer to, make the case for self-defense. So it's very much similar to what this description is talking about. Is it murder when you feel like your life is threatened, right? To me, that's a hard no. But anyway, this sounds like gripping reading. This is out this month from Echo Books, so check that out if that's of interest to you. Sorry for the glare. I'm definitely going to dip into that and see how much I can read at one time without being completely infuriated. Oh, now this is going to be... I can't wait for this one. I can't wait to start reading this one. Oh, why doesn't it not focus? I might need a new camera, guys. You know me. If you're, I'm talking to you like you've been on this channel and been watching me for years now. A lot of you could be new. And if so, hey, thanks for joining me here at the History Shelf. Thanks for subscribing. It's great to have you here. So this might be news to you if you're new here. I have I don't want to say a love-hate relationship, but I've always been fascinated and horrified by sharks ever since, I was allowed to see Jaws when I was 7 years old, I think, when it came out. So, and I've lived in Florida, and I've had to swim in the ocean, and I've been petrified every time. But yet I can't get enough of shark stuff. What is with that? It's just like this morbid curiosity. This is coming out from St. Martin's Press on June 23rd, you guys, so keep your eyes out for this. This is a work of nonfiction. Can't wait to read it. This is called In Deep Water, a true story of sharks' survival and courage, by Michael J. Tugias. Look at this. Just the cover is just terrifying. Yeah, St. Martin's Press. All right. Are you ready for this? I don't know if I am. The terrifying true story of a fight for survival for 28 hours in shark-infested waters. Hopefully I won't go into my rant after reading this, but I probably will, so stay tuned for that. October 8, 2022. 3 friends are fishing for red snapper when their boat, tied to an oil rig, begins taking on water and sinks 15 miles out in the Gulf of Mexico. And that's where I was living in Florida. I was swimming in the Gulf of Mexico. Never again. Suddenly, the 3 men find themselves in a struggle for their lives. Their vessel succumbs to the building seas so quickly that the fishermen are unable to send out a radio mayday call, and their cell phones have no reception. They only have time to don their life jackets and hold on to a cooler as they are swept further out to sea. I don't know why people do this. They vow to stay together no matter what and must make several life or death decisions, suffering from hypothermia and severe stings. Oh, here's another thing that the ocean does. Yeah, and severe stings from giant jellyfish. The men desperately try to stay afloat as they realize there are circling sharks below. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they circle you from below. They look up. So, that poster from Jaws was not hyperbole. That was not an exaggeration. That mofo does come up like that with his mouth open and ready to go. And, yep. Why would you want to swim in the ocean? I don't get it. In deep water, not that these guys were out there for a swim, but still, I even just fishing out that far, it's just crazy. In deep water is an hour-by-hour account of a desperate and determined struggle for survival, as well as the Coast Guard's all-out effort to find the missing men. This fast-paced story has a number of surprising turns in both the survival ordeal and the rescue efforts. Based on interviews with the 3 survivors and the crew of the Jayhawk helicopter who rescue them, In Deep Water is a white-knuckled tale of bravery and brotherhood and a battle against the ocean's deadliest predators. In Deep Water, coming to you from St. Martin's Press, June 23rd. And this author, Michael Tugius. I hope I pronounced that right. I don't know. So my rant is, it says here the ocean's deadliest predators, right? So it's just all those people, all those scientists, and I know, and they're the experts, right? The marine biologists. Sharks don't want to eat people. They're just curious. They'll take a bite and realize you're not worth it and swim away. And yeah, you'll probably die from the bite, but they're really not interested in human flesh. I call BS on that. I think that's baloney. Because I have watched, read, and heard about so many stories of people adrift at sea that are being just targeted by sharks. Like they wanted to eat them. And in fact, ate some of their friends while they're watching, so just don't tell me that crap. It's just I don't buy it. They're not a threat. In fact, we're threatening them. Okay. I think sharks are doing just fine. I think they're doing just fine. So please don't tell me that they're going to eat you if you're out there. That's it. And as well, they should, because that's their domain. So I'm just saying. The horror is real. Okay. So I'll leave that right there. Okay, so that does it for the advanced review copies. Now we're going to get into the finished copies I've received that span a wide range of topics. Let's see if I can group some of these together. I do have some more nonfiction, but let's stick with the history for right now. All right, we're going to stick here for this right now. Okay. Let's start off with early American history, the earliest American history. I received this book in galley format a while ago, but they were kind enough, Penguin Press publisher sent me a finished copy, and I'm very excited to read it. Oh, yes. And it's by a prominent, one of the more recent biographers of Abraham Lincoln, David S. Reynolds. So I'm very excited to read this because I like Reynolds' writing. This is Two Ships. This is out this month now. Jamestown, 1619. Plymouth, 1620. And the Struggle for the Soul of America. I think this is a great cover, by the way. I really like this red and black kind of look. Yeah. Tons of blurbs on the back from the big heavies like John Meacham, Alan Taylor, Sean Wilentz. People are just blurbing the heck out of this book. Oh, I do have a pub sheet. Great. Actually, this book came out yesterday, June 9th. Tons of praise, advanced praise from like Library Journal, Kirkus. I mean, it's all there. Let's see here. I'm trying to figure out what to read. Okay. Let's do this. I'm going to read from here and hold up the book because sometimes you guys like to look at the book, right? Of course we do. Who wouldn't? America's divisions didn't begin recently or even in 1776. In the bitterly polarized decades leading up to the American Civil War, it was commonplace to argue that America's strife could be traced back to 1619 and 1620 with the arrival of two ships. The ship that brought the first enslaved Africans to Jamestown, and the Mayflower, which brought the Pilgrims to Plymouth Rock. Now, on the eve of the nation's 250th anniversary, that origin story comes back into focus with this book, Two Ships by David S. Reynolds. This magnificent book traces the roots of American division through the prism of these two ships, illuminating a battle of ideas that continues to shape our conversations about identity, authority, equality, and the future of the country. All right, let's see here. Reynolds shows us that those two ships, invoked by Frederick Douglass and many others, stood for two quite distinct realities, the Puritans and the Cavaliers, names and ideologies born in the bloodshed of the English Civil War. The Virginia colony, founded by Royalists, was steeped in the ideas of divine right, which flowed down in rigid patriarchal hierarchies. Plymouth Colony's dissenters to the king and his church, while hardly perfect, carried the seeds of a more egalitarian political vision. The two ships of 1619 and 1620 played a key role in the battle of images and words that marked the roiling fight and then war over slavery. As Reynolds shows, there was a long stretch of time in America when everyone knew what Cavaliers and Puritans meant. It was North versus South, but more deeply, it was about whether social hierarchy was the natural order of things. But then, as America descended into the long night of Jim Crow, the metaphor of the two ships went to sleep as well. The meaning of the Mayflower and of Thanksgiving changed as they became mainstream, apolitical ideas. If the ship's status as cultural touchpoints before the Civil War tells us something vital about that conflict, their forgetting afterward tells us much about why the road to true equality has proved so stony. Interesting. So as we reflect on our nation's first 250 years and look ahead to its future, Two Ships offers a powerful reckoning with the origins of our deepest divisions, as well as the possibilities that have always existed alongside them. Interesting. I have not heard of this this dichotomy between Cavaliers and Puritans, but I sense there's something big in it. Indeed, and he's tracing it back to the English Civil War. So this is going to be some good stuff here. The clash between Cromwellian Puritanism and radical New England Puritanism. I mean, it really goes into some detail. Yeah, the English Civil War era. This is going to be great stuff. Kind of covering the American Revolution as well. The puritanical strain that influenced the South to maybe not the South so much as it kind of just set it off between North and South, Cavalier versus Puritan. But what a fascinating way to construct this argument. Anyway, I can't wait to read this. This would be something I would love to buddy read. There's a lot of stuff here to dissect. So yeah, this book came out yesterday. It's 480 pages from Penguin Press. And David S. Reynolds, who wrote Abraham Lincoln in His Times. All right, guys. Well, we're going to crunch on here. 2 books about women in the American Revolutionary era. Got this nice, I don't have the pub sheet, but I looked it up and it did come out this month, or it is coming out this month. I think this one also comes out June 23rd. And this is called Obstinate Daughters, the Rebels, Writers, and Renegade Women Who Ignited the American Revolution by Denise Kiernan, I should say. There we go. This is put out by Dutton Books. Really happy to get a finished copy. Let's see here. History has always celebrated the founding fathers, the sly but victorious tactics of Washington, the daring exploits of Lafayette, and the grand ideas of Jefferson. Yet we rarely hear of the women who kept the colonies running and liberty alive. Obstinate Daughters finally rewrites the story of America's birth by revealing the courageous, resourceful women whose actions shaped a nation. From the battlefields to the printing press, from the plantations to the pulpit, these women fought, spied, published, preached, farmed, and organized. From the front lines to the home front, from the colonies to the frontier, these unsung heroines turned the tide. In Obstinate Daughters, readers will meet women who armed themselves and took matters into their own hands to defend their town. A Cherokee leader who warned patriot settlements of looming attacks, risking the lives of her own people in the process. A British spy at the center of a plot to assassinate George Washington. Enslaved women who risked their lives while fighting a parallel battle for their own freedom, embodying the very ideals the revolution claimed to uphold. And the only woman to have her name on the Declaration of Independence, and many more. As she has done so many times before, Kiernan masterfully weaves these individual stories together into a single compelling narrative, carving a place in history for these impactful women while also embarking on a road trip to many of the sites associated with her subjects and examining their place in our collective memory. So with journalistic rigor and narrative flair, Kiernan reminds us that the past is always open to challenge and that every untold story can inspire a new generation. And they said, she's done this before, this Denise Kiernan, and I don't believe I've read anything by her. She's written The Last Castle and The Girls of Atomic City. Okay. Yeah, this sounds very good. Love a little women's history, especially around, American Revolution. Can't go wrong with that. Obstinate Daughters. I love the, it's like a little fresco of women across the top here. White and black. I love it. Yeah, so this one, I believe it comes out June 23rd. So got that finished copy. All right. So talking about more maverick women, and we have maverick in the title of this next book. This is a softcover release from Globe Pequot, an imprint of the Globe Pequot publishing company. So yeah, Globe Pequot is publishing, I think this is out this month. I don't have the pub sheet, but I have it in the stack, so I'm pretty sure it is. This is Massachusetts Maverick Women, A Revolutionary Tradition by Jim Cullen. It's a slim volume, as you can see. It's not super, massive. So let's see here. Massachusetts Maverick Women traces the lives of a pivotal set of people in shaping a tradition of freedom in New England, highlighting their influence from the region's founding in 1620 through the American Revolution a century and a half later. The book highlights the unique political culture that allowed 12 remarkable women to have a reverberating impact in a male-dominated society. These figures include religious dissidents like Anne Hutchinson, poets like, Anne Bradstreet, captives like Mary Rowlandson and Phyllis Wheatley, who was a poet herself, and revolutionaries like Deborah Sampson and Abigail Adams. Through their diverse roles, these founding mothers laid the foundation for the United States. So you can see where this book really kind of goes hand in hand with Obstinate Daughters. There's going to be a little bit of overlap there, I'm sure. Let's see. Interesting. They have Queen Elizabeth as one of the Queen Elizabeth I as one of the women. That's an interesting choice. Then we have some names I don't recognize, like Esther Edwards Burr, Judith Sargent Murray. Okay, I have heard of Mercy Otis Warren, of course. She's on the cover. Mercy Otis Warren, Abigail Adams. And who is that first lady? Anne Hutchinson, I think. Anne Hutchinson or Anne Bradstreet. Let's see if they have a picture of her in here. Anyway, it's filled with artwork, portraits, photograph. Okay, well, don't lie to me as I'm flipping through it. There we go. There you go. It's in there. There's stuff in there. Okay, so I believe this is out right now. Massachusetts Maverick Women. So keep an eye out for that. I am so sorry, guys. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's been a long day. I'm making this video right after work ended. And I think I might have I'm going to reach out to this lovely brand of energy drink, Celsius. See if they'll sponsor my show. This is a great little refreshing pick-me-up. It's an energy drink without, well, I mean, it's got a lot of caffeine. And sometimes I need that pick-me-up when I still have a lot of reading to do or I'm writing a review in the evening. So it's not just for people who exercise because they're like live fit, and other commercials show people running and sweating. And I'm telling you, this is actually really good for thinking too. It keeps me focused on my reading and on my note-taking for reviews. So Celsius, I think you need to support the channel. I drink at least one a day. Yeah, it helps me. It helps me at this time of day to get my stuff done. So yummy, yummy. Okay, now moving on to later in American history, we've got I also had this in a galley. I think at the end of this video, I'm going to show you the books that I have in advanced reader format, and just I'll show you them all and tell you whatever one you're interested in throwing your name into the ring for a giveaway. Email me. So, but this is one of them. I forgot to tell you about the other two, but okay. So this is one of them. This is 1873. The Rothschilds, the First Great Depression, and the Making of the Modern World. Another book from Penguin Press, which has been putting out some great history books in the last few years. I've been really enjoying Penguin Press's stuff. The author here is Liaquat Ahmed. Let's just go with that. I think it's Liaquat Ahmed. Says winner of the Pulitzer Prize, but I'm guessing that's from another book. Yes, and when did I? So okay, this is out this month. Don't have the pub sheet. It's probably in with the. Hang on a second. Yeah, see, here's the galley, guys. Oh, I don't have the pub sheet in the galley either. Oh, either way, it's yours, or it could be yours if you win the drawing. Okay, let me read to you what this one's about. Right. Okay, Liaquat Ahmed, what he won the Pulitzer Prize for was for his book Lords of Finance. Okay, but this is his magnificent and timely reckoning with the first truly global financial calamity and the famous banking family at the center of the whirlwind. Over the course of the 1850s and 1860s, during the first era of globalization, the world experienced an unprecedented economic boom. Fueling this expansion was an explosion in the global bond market, at the hub of which stood one family, the Rothschilds, arguably the wealthiest banking family in history. While the giant sums of capital provided through the bond market built the railroads, the century's most transformative investments, the money raised also unleashed a frenzy of speculation, massive overinvestment, and wasteful borrowing by governments. With excessive euphoria leading to disappointed expectations, in the early 1870s, the bubble burst. Stock markets from Vienna to New York crashed, and dozens of railroads and many governments defaulted. Financial officials responded by blundering into a precipitous remaking of the global currency system, exacerbating the ensuing economic collapse and setting the stage for decades of a punitive deflation that sparked waves of anti-globalist populism. As Liaquat Ahmed shows us in this enthralling history, the crisis of 1873 was, among other things, a death blow to Reconstruction in the United States and the proximate cause of the Ottoman Empire's slow death spiral. Fascinating. Ironically, though the Rothschilds had presciently kept a low profile during the bubble, when the deluge came, they were viciously scapegoated as part of a wider hatred directed at Jewish finance, a strain of anti-Semitism that would come to full evil flower during the 20th century. 1873 is a bird's eye reckoning with the full dimension of the crisis, from its buildup to its long aftermath. The Rothschilds and a cast of other witnesses give us the human perspective, and we have a brilliant financial historian's grasp of the larger forces at play, resulting in a global narrative with a thrilling explanatory power. Now, I'm not a big economic geek. I don't have those kind of chops, but I think I can definitely understand cause and effect. And where I think the funding dried up definitely for Reconstruction, but also the will to enforce Reconstruction. It's just such a tragedy that every new book I read on that era, it just drives home to me what a tragedy that was and how different things could have been for this country if we had really committed to winning the peace, which we didn't really do. Interesting. So there's little drawings throughout. Got some illustrations, nothing too major, but definitely think I can grasp this if he's keeping this easy for the economic layman to understand. So this is out now, I believe, from Penguin Press, 1873, by Liaquat Ahmed. All right, guys. Okay. Now this one I think a publicist emailed me about this, and I said I had even no idea that this book was coming. Dang it, I don't have the pub sheet for this either. It's like kind of like a dual biography of sorts, but you'll see here. Okay, so let me just show you. This is out this month from Dutton Books. This is Ike and Winston, World War, Cold War, and an Extraordinary Friendship. And I love Ike, so this is going to be a great book to read. This is by Jonathan W. Jordan. And it's a nice big read. You can see you can really get into it. Lavishly, got some interesting photos. FDR was not looking too good there. Love these old photographs. All right. Ike and Winston. Let's get into this. There's been so many books about Winston and whoever, Winston and FDR, but I've never heard about this particular friendship. So this is going to be good. From New York Times bestselling author Jonathan W. Jordan, comes a riveting portrait of friendship, politics, and power at the highest stakes. The extraordinary bond between Dwight D. Eisenhower and Winston Churchill. One was the soldier statesman who would become America's 34th president. The other was the British icon who refused to surrender in democracy's darkest hour. Together, they launched invasions, toppled tyrants, and shaped the world as the nations they served drifted apart. From World War to Cold War, from Pearl Harbor to the hydrogen bomb, Winston Churchill and Dwight Eisenhower faced down Hitler, Stalin, and Khrushchev and stood together in the fiery dawn of the nuclear age. Through triumph and loss, they forged a remarkable friendship that weathered the decline of an empire and the rise of a superpower. Told in rich and gripping detail, drawn from the words of the men themselves, Ike and Winston is a deeply human story of loyalty, leadership, and affection, a kinship forged in war, strained by duty, and nurtured in peace. Isn't that lovely? Oh, I have his other book. Okay. I was like, I know I've got, yes. I picked, okay, so he wrote this Brothers, Rivals, and Victors, which kind of, is like a prequel of sorts, I would think. Oh, this is between Ike Patton and Omar Bradley. Yeah, I have that book in paperback. I think I bought that at hamiltonbook.com, bargain copy. Oh, this is great. And then the other book he wrote was American Warlords. Oh, good stuff. All right, definitely on my my to-read list this summer, or early fall when I can get to it. Be heading into my busy work season again as we approach my company's annual conference at the end of September. So we're already ginning up right now and doing a lot of starting to get our promo machine going. Anyway, so I hope to get to this soon, but this is going to be a fantastic book. I'm going to put this one next to my Gene Edward Smith biography of Eisenhower, which to me is one of the best biographies on Eisenhower. I still need to read his grandson's book on Eisenhower, which I bought a used copy, which is downstairs. I haven't read that one yet, but I really enjoyed Gene Edward Smith's biography on Eisenhower. But this one, can't wait. Okay, I have 3 more books. My door is closed, but I can hear dogs sniffing impatiently. They want me to come out, and I'm telling them, no, I have to make this video. All right, let's go with this one. So this is quite different, but I'm excited. Let's take a look at this. Is out right now, I believe. And I also have a galley for this one. This is part of the giveaway. This is Fires in the Night. The Earth Liberation Front, the FBI, and a Secret History of Eco-Sabotage by Matthew Wolfe. This is out this month from Viking Books. And I just got this finished copy. So I do have an ARC, and I'm happy to do a giveaway for that one. So let me know in the comments if that's what you want. All right, let me read to you what we're going to cover in this book here. In the early hours of October 28th, 1996, a driver in rural Oregon spotted flames rising from a federal ranger station. Firefighters quickly extinguished the blaze, but not before discovering a cryptic phrase spray-painted on a nearby wall: Earth Liberation Front. Over the next decade, the Earth Liberation Front would carry out the most audacious series of politically motivated arsons in American history. Their targets: car dealerships, slaughterhouses, lumber companies, a $12 million Vail ski resort, were chosen to send a message. If the government wouldn't halt the destruction of the natural world, they would. Despite causing no deaths, the ELF would soon be branded the foremost domestic terrorism threat in America and become the target of one of the FBI's largest investigations. Fires in the Night is the definitive story of the ELF's rise and unraveling, stretching from the old-growth forests of the Pacific Northwest to the Seattle streets of 1999's legendary World Trade Organization protests to the paranoid aftermath of September 11th. For years, members of the ELF, many of them close friends, led double lives, meticulously planning and staging their attacks using secret book clubs, dead drops, and anonymous communiques, while trying to manage interpersonal friction and stay one step ahead of a relentless task force of police and federal agents. Wow. Drawing on years of original reporting and interviews, including with reclusive activists breaking their silence for the first time, as well as thousands of pages of unreleased investigative files, journalist Matthew Wolfe offers a thrilling, intimate account of a moment in American life when the actions of radical environmentalists challenged mainstream complacency. As the climate crisis continues to accelerate, Wolfe asks the most pressing question of our time. Facing the end of the world as we know it, exactly what kind of resistance is justified? So a very apt question. I don't have the answer to that, but Fires in the Night sounds really good. So, and there's a possibility I could interview this gentleman for on the show. So let me know if that would be of interest to you as well. I'd like to know if there's a segment of you guys out there into kind of like this topic, which is something I haven't really covered too in depth before. But I mean, just look how compelling this cover is, right? Wow. I think this was at the Vail Ski Resort. Yeah, what is this cover photo? This looks really familiar to me. I'll have to find that out. But yeah, that is let's see. Okay. Doesn't say easily, but anyway. This is out this month. I think it's out right now. From, did I say Viking Books? Okay. All right. Another interesting little nonfiction title here that you guys might be interested in. This book comes out next week, June 16th, but I got a final copy, finished copy. This is Little Blue Dot, How GPS Shaped the Modern World by Catherine Dunn. This is put out by Bloomsbury Books. In 1997, a cutting-edge tech system had its big pop culture moment. The James Bond film Tomorrow Never Dies featured the manipulation of the United States global positioning system to set off a dramatic confrontation between China and the West. Most reviewers dismissed it as another of the Bond films as crazy twists, but years later the truth is maybe even stranger than fiction. This world-changing system, which has shaped war and everyday life alike, is officially under attack. The very ways we understand time and space itself can make for wild and dangerous weapons, especially in an era when truth and certainty are under assault. Catherine Dunn's Little Blue Dot is the story of the global positioning system, from the radio beam battles between the Brits and the Germans during the Blitz, to the enduring legacy of Nazi rocket engineers during the space race, to the muggy legacy of the carpet bombing of the Vietnam War. And I know where she's going with this. I'll come back to that in a second. It covers the rise of the iPhone, the dawning era of the drone wars, and both the end of the Cold War and its resurgence in not so cold form, just as 20th century alliances and norms are being rewritten. Initially a cog in the wheel of globalization, GPS has now taken on a new life and may even serve as a parable for the proliferation of AI and newer technologies on the horizon. Sharp and evocative, Little Blue Dot considers the future of GPS, its impact on our understanding of space and time, and the role of technology in our lives. And I'm glad this is a finished copy because I am going to look up in the back to see if she referenced a book that I read and reviewed about a year ago. And I showed this book on the channel in one of my, new history or new nonfiction videos. As a very powerful book, which has now come back around again. And I wonder if it's because of this book. Where is do you have a bibliography? Because that's what there's no bibliography. There's notes. Oh no. I want to see if this, okay. Anyway, this book comes out next week, June 16th from Bloomsbury Books. Oh, okay. So from Bloomsbury, I think bloomsbury.com. Okay. I'm very excited because tomorrow afternoon I'm interviewing this author of the book that I really fell in love with, despite the title. It would seem so like dry and technical, but it wasn't. This whole book was a joy to read. So yeah, I'm interviewing the author like a year after the book came out, but the publicist reached out and said, "You had such kind words about the book and how it was written. Would you be interested in interviewing Jeffrey?" And I was like, yes. And this is the book that I will be covering tomorrow in my next author interview. So stay tuned for that. I'll be uploading that as well soon. This is The Warhead, The Quest to Build the Perfect Weapon in the Age of Modern Warfare by Jeffrey E. Stern. This was put out by Dutton Books. And I tell you what, and I think I'm going to have a giveaway. I have an extra copy of this, finished copy, not an ARC. I have a finished copy. So, but to do that, you need to tune into the author interview. I am going to make some stipulations. I do want people to tune in and actually watch the interview, listen to Jeffrey speak about how he came to this topic, how he wrote it. But it all starts off with this gentleman working at Texas Instruments, who it's just amazing. And it was just amazing storytelling. And it moves into Vietnam, and it talks about this bombing run that every pilot was just dreading. It was over the Dragon's Jaw, this bridge that they needed to take out. And it was so dangerous. And Jeffrey Stern goes into that in great detail in this book, and how the global positioning system that this guy at Texas Instruments came up with was used, and it was successful almost right away. Yeah, we've got like Operation Rolling Thunder. It's just, this was a great book. And I'm wondering if the author of Little Blue Dot read this last year, because he covers this stuff. About the technology that eventually turned into, GPS stuff on your phone. But they wanted to use this targeting system initially just for military, but then it moved into bigger applications for civilian use, and just finding your way. But anyway, I'm excited. In fact, I need to prepare tonight and get my questions ready to go. So yeah, how interesting. It was a moment of serendipity between these two books. So, but I do highly recommend The Warhead to all of you guys. And hit the notification bell or something if you want to be notified when that author interview drops, because I think in my my comment section, I am going to be mentioning that I will be doing a giveaway for a finished copy of The Warhead. Only if you watch the interview, though. I might put in like you have to answer a question. You might have to answer like, what was your favorite part? Or, you got to work for it a little bit sometimes. So The Warhead, that's coming soon on this channel, author interview. All right, so we've got The Little Blue Dot. This is out now. All right, final book, and I do have an extra finished copy of this book. So let's see how many of you are interested in this title. This is from Thesis Books, which is an imprint of Penguin. And this is Politics Without Politicians, The Case for Citizen Rule by Helene Landmore. Helene Landmore. Politics Without Politicians. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, I have an extra finished copy of this. Let's see. It says, politicians have failed us, but democracy doesn't have to. Bought by special interests, detached from real life, obsessed with re-election. Politicians make big promises, deliver little, and keep the game rigged in their favor. But what can we do? In this book, acclaimed political theorist Helene Landmore asks, what if we don't need politicians at all? What if everyday people, under the right conditions, could govern much better? With disarming clarity and a deep sense of urgency, Landmore argues that electoral politics is broken, but democracy isn't. We've just been doing it wrong. Drawing on ancient Athenian practices in contemporary citizens' assemblies, I'm smiling at the ancient Athenian practices. Is she talking about the ostraka? Can we ostracize people, like in the real sense of ostracizing them? Because that would be fantastic. Bring back the ostraka. Landmore champions an alternative approach that is alive, working, and growing around the world. Civic lotteries. That's what I'm telling you. Civic lotteries that select everyday people to govern, not as career politicians, but as temporary stewards of the common good. Drawing from her experience with deliberative processes in France and elsewhere, Landmore shows us how to move beyond democracy as a spectator sport, embracing it as a shared practice, not just in the voting booth, but in shaping the laws and policies that govern our lives. This is not a book about what's wrong. It's a manifesto for what's possible. If you've ever felt powerless, Politics Without Politicians will show you how we, the people, take back democracy. Well, we'll see. We'll see if any of these people, these politicians, would ever even give up their power. They will not. Oh my God, it's already at an hour. I thought we were not going to be. Oh, I didn't think we'd go long, you guys. Oh my gosh. It still happens. Anyway, guys, so those are my new books that have come across the desk here at the History Shelf for June. I'm already lining up arrivals for July and August, and even some September arrivals are already coming in. I'm going to try to do these much earlier. But I do have to tell you, I do have a backlog from May already. Like I've told you that a lot of books come in later after I make these videos. I guess me trying to wait until 10 days into the month, I hope that I get everything. But like with May, I've got a huge stack down here from books that can't have come in that are finished copies from February, maybe one in March, many from May, and a few from April. But I do need I need to do another new history arrival, I'm trying to think of a neat name for all of these ones that come in late. So anyway, I still got more to show you from that kind of, backlog. But for now, I wanted to get these on your radar. Oh, I don't know if I can do this pyramid. I think I just have to hold it up. Oh, that's June, and there's a couple more over there. I can't even get on the stack. Okay, so these are the 3 giveaways. We've got Fires in the Night, the advanced reader copy by Matthew Wolfe about the Earth Liberation Front, the FBI, and a secret history of eco-sabotage. Again, email me if you're interested and give me the title of the book. 1873, The Rothschilds, the First Great Depression, and the Making of the Modern World by Liaquat Ahamed. And this finished copy of Politics Without Politicians, The Case for Citizen Rule by Helene Landmore. All right, so you guys let me know what you would be interested in, and I will try to get the winners, alert the winners within a couple weeks after the video has published. All right, guys, so now it's way over an hour. Gotta go, gotta run. So hope you're doing well out there. I'll be back hopefully soon. I hope to have another second video later this week. Of course, I've got that author interview coming. I will probably publish that on Monday. But anyway, guys, until next time, thanks for being here. Thanks for just following, liking, subscribing, and supporting me in this journey of learning and this passion that we all have for history. Until next time, guys, take care.